Hi everybody. In this video, I'd like to show you a demo of the Super Search rudiment. And let me just kind of do the demo and describe it in a bit more detail in a few seconds. So I've given you the React code in a GitHub repository, or some of the React code, so you can have somewhere to start. And what this is, it's sort of, I guess, the closest thing would be a Yelp, where you could search for stores or restaurants in your area. So for example, I can search for a Starbucks. And without logging in, it shows me all the Starbucks in the database. And the database just has Fredericksburg and Las Cruces information. I can search for types of restaurants or shops. So like I can search for coffee. This brings up all the coffee. I can search for Mexican, and it brings up all the Mexican restaurants. I can also search for movies. I can search for where's Wonder Woman playing, and it'll show me. I can see all the movies by typing the word movies, and it displays all the movies showing. So that's basically what it does. That's the simple search part. Now it also allows me to log in, and I should say users to this service have a username, a password, and at least one other field, which is the zip code. So let me just log in here. And you can see it says successfully logged in. I say no, I don't want to add it. And it shows me, it gives me a little graphic illustration that I am logged in, and it gives me this opportunity to log out. And now with logging in, the search is restricted to that person's zip code. So if I search for coffee, I just see coffee in Las Cruces. If I search for Starbucks, Starbucks in Las Cruces. Another coffee shop, if I search for Mexican, same thing. So if I search for a movie like Wonder Woman, now it only shows me the movies in Las Cruces. Finally, if I do that movies search, it shows it's restricted to Las Cruces. And if I log out and do that search, we're back to show me everything in the database. So Starbucks is everywhere, coffee, all these coffee shops. Login also offers this. If I make a mistake in the password, hopefully it'll tell me I made the mistake. It just says incorrect password, and allows me, if I don't put in the correct username, it'll just say username doesn't exist. Sorry, get rid of that. And again, if I search here, this time if I search for Starbucks, it only shows me the one in Fredericksburg. Clara is a Fredericksburg resident. So let me give you kind of the specifics of, or a few odds and ends of what you need to do. So in that GitHub repository that contains the React code, I also give you some information about the structure of the database. I give you 2 inserts into tables, one for movies and one for stores. So what you're going to need to do is actually create the tables, write code to create tables for movies and stores, but at least there's some code to do the collection of stuff. The other thing is I'm not entirely happy with this way of representing stuff in stores for this reason. So here is just kind of a table of some of the stores to show you what this looks like. And you can see that in this database, I only have one type, like Duck Donuts is a coffee shop. But if you look at Yelp, or if you look just, I guess, common sense in the real world, things can be of multiple types. So Duck Donuts might be coffee and donuts, and Double Eagle may be a steakhouse and American food. So there may be multiple types. So I'd like you to implement that. Obviously, this may not be the way to go with commas, but it's up to you. The requirement, though, is that the database needs to be in 3NF. So that's the hard requirement for the entire database. When you do this implementation of having multiple types, it'd be nice if we had some samples to test. So I'm asking you to add at least, or alter at least 10 of these entries so they have multiple types. If you want, I'll give you some extra points if you just increase the size of the database. Let's say maybe add another zip code or another type or whatever, just to see if you're, get interested in this. There's some ways of earning a few extra points. So that's the database requirement. And I showed you the general search requirement, which is that you should be able to search on the name of the store, the type of a store, the name of a movie, and let me get the movie right, and all the movies by typing the word movies. You need to implement that login feature that I showed you that, gave you a, or allowed you to log in. I can log out here. If I give an incorrect password, it'll tell me that. If I give, if there's no username by that, it'll tell me that as well. And when I do log in, I see some graphic showing me that I did log in, and it stores that zip code somehow so you can use it. So the other requirement is that you have a logout feature. The other thing that I'm not demoing is I'd like you to have a create a new user page so a person can subscribe to this site. And so there's minimally, it needs to be a username, a password, and a zip code, and then they're added to that database. So log in, log out, new user. The one thing I should mention is that I want you to use kind of common sense and the way people normally do things, which is, and particularly in regards to security. So I want the user, the database user of this app to have the minimum permissions required to do the tasks. And obviously the password should be hashed. So I showed you that the search, once a person is logged in, needs to be limited by zip code. And I want you to protect your site against SQL injection. And the simple test to see if that is, if you search for Pete's, the coffee shop, it should actually return something and not generate an error. If you did things sort of right to begin with, you won't have this error, but it's a simple test to see if you are doing it right. So that's kind of the general requirements of this rudiment. So good luck, have some fun with it. You can augment it in different ways, and if you would like, and we'll consider extra XP for those ways if you just get interested in this. So that's it. Thanks so much. Bye.